All right, a quick market recap and commentary. As always, we like to get the broader context. Just looking at ES coming into the day, the main watch was very similar to what we were looking for yesterday. Essentially, we wanted to see how this 4,300 zone was treated, as well as that 43.35 area. As I mentioned this morning in the pre-market live stream, we were not going to see a change in character, a change in this downtrend until this 43.35 area was broken to the upside. So that was kind of the first objective for bulls, for buyers. Now, this morning we opened kind of what I like to call no man's land, right around this 43.08, pulled back into 4,300. That gave a phenomenal opportunity to get long into what was essentially the 43.35 area. Just looking at the 15-minute chart here, obviously your intraday trades are going to be a little bit different, but just looking at the 15 higher time frame charts here. So that pretty much gave a directional move into the 43.35. There was a bit of attempted selling right through here. You can see that on the 15-minute chart, pretty much all absorbed, meaning buyers were just willing to take those higher prices, and that resulted in a near-term change in character. Traded up into the 43.50, which was the next upside level of interest. No real follow-through up into the 43.70. That's quite all right. We pretty much already got a 1 ATR move on this intraday move from 4,300 up into 43.50. So hard to have higher expectations without extremely high relative volume. Into the afternoon there, we pull back into the 43.35. Now, I mentioned a couple of times that this is kind of the key area that buyers need to be defending. And so we get some buying versus that 43.35. It fades. Buyers step in again on what looks to be pretty big volume again intraday there, and we're back into the 43.50. So that kind of recaps what happened for today. Now, tomorrow, depending on what the overnight action shows, I'm going to be looking at, of course, this 43.50. Buyers will want to show some follow through above today's high, which is that 43.50, 43.55 area. And we could see a move into the fast MA, which is the 43.80 currently. That is also a resistance from earlier in the week. And so things are starting to get a little more interesting now as far as what the setup looks like. We do have some two-way trading here. It's not all directionally downward, which it has been for the bulk of the week with the current market structure. We do now have that change in structure. So for tomorrow, once again, just looking at the 43.50 area, and potentially, depending on where we open, the 43.35. Right, I'll be treating this as kind of a key level in the near term, very important near term pivot, as we kind of saw today, as we've seen in prior sessions this week. Very important zone. So again, buyers want that 43.35 to be defended. On SPY, it's a pretty similar situation here. We were looking at 428 as our R1. That's kind of the, if I zoom in here, you can see the near-term structure. Once again, once these lower highs start to be broken to the upside, that's called a change in character. And so the near-term trend starts to show a change in character. Buyers defend that 428 area, and we're back up into what was R2 for today, which was 430. We did have a number of really strong setups using the 2-hour trader framework on both SPY and ES today. Pretty great trading day, highly active session, good volume throughout the day. Looking forward to seeing what tomorrow presents. We do have that end of month rebalancing to watch for, some potential window dressing. So just keep that in mind. The end of month trading can be a little bit tricky. For individual names, we are still looking at AMD as a swing watch. I missed my entry the past couple of days. It's now resolving higher on the back of the MU earnings, but this was a phenomenal entry. So I'm keeping this on watch. Maybe we get another retest down into the structure, down near 100. I would consider getting long there with a swing trade on AMD. FDX, looking at this one on the daily, basically what we have here is a tight consolidation over the past week near this kind of range high, right? So this is a bullish development. FDX can potentially break out here if we see some continued strength up through 268. Scrolling back, looking at the kind of higher time frame, yeah, you have a pullback right there into the 21 weekly moving average. And so we're just looking for a continuation move, right? Kind of breaking these recent highs here. So that's FDX. We'll want to see volume on that. Next one was MU. This is definitely in play today. We did not have this on watch today just based on the daily location. It did have a subpar daily location, so no trade there. But what we can do with it tomorrow is treat it as a second day play. And for that, we'll primarily be looking at 65. This first day action is pretty messy. So we'll just be looking at 65 as our near-term pivot and take it from there. Netflix also on swing watch. I believe this one is into the 200 MA. So yeah, testing the 200 MA there. If we get a follow through bar tomorrow, this will be looking like a pretty solid swing. Check out, if you zoom out here, you do have recent highs up in this 370 from, well, not that recent, January, February, and that as well in May. And so if we treat this like a breakout point, it's just a retest of the prior breakout point with the 200 MA right there as well. So from a structural perspective, it is a sound trade. You do also have that 200 MA, which tends to help things. Shop also at the 200 MA. This is another swing watch. Not much to add on this one. We've been watching it all week. Finally, some buying interest on it today, though volume is average. So we'll see about that. SE still trading on big volume. We talked about this morning. It did not quite make it onto the watch list, but we do have an inside day today. So for tomorrow, I'll be looking at 43.5. We'll see if we can get the rest of this move up into 45.5. This one has been solid for us this week, so we're just looking for some continuation on that SE. Looking at NQ, haven't been trading NQ much the past couple of weeks, but the main levels that we have here are the 14,800. Very similar setup here to what we've been looking at in ES, right? You have a lower highs all through this zone in the 14,800, and the importance of this level was that it also was the prior daily breakdown point right through here from August 18th. So starting to recover that zone. We have been talking again this week in the recaps and the pre-market prep live stream about this area of support down into 14,600, 14,650. So that holds. Got a bit of a bounce from there. NQ is testing the fast MA. Bulls, what they'll be looking to do now, you see the high from Tuesday and the high from Monday as well as the fast MA right there. That is essentially 14,950 as a level. So buyers, bulls will be looking to break this level right here. Watch for follow through that level tomorrow if you are bullish. That is NQ. And then just a recap on ES. Again, we're looking at 43.35, 43.50 as kind of our main levels of interest for tomorrow's session. Today's game plan pretty much worked perfectly. No real complaints on today's action. Index continues to trade extremely technically. So again, we pull back into the 4,300, hold, trade up into 43.35, break 43.35 to test 43.50. That gives us our full ATR move, right? One ATR. Pull back. Now we'll probably just range here, some big selling into the close here. So once again, we want to see buying appetite versus this 43.35. This area needs to hold. You can start to already see some buying materialize right there. That's pretty much it for today. Hope everyone had a profitable day. Let me check the chat here, see what kind of questions we have. Mr. D-Wall wants to look at snow. Let's see. Snow daily. So this is just a huge base. Very big base here. Today is a bullish engulfing candle, but again, per my system, I don't really, this is an anomaly, right? You have a big buy bar here, but you don't have volume to match. So this is technically an anomaly. This is not a strong signal. I'd encourage you to read the volume price analysis that I posted in the resources tab by Anna Cooling. Phenomenal book. This is definitely, the bar is interesting, but once again, that's an anomaly. Let's take a look at PLTR. So I have no trade here. I need to see this type of action on big volume, at least over 100%. It's currently trading at 75%. PLTR. So PLTR catching a bid versus 14. This is support. Coming into daily resistance here at 16. If it breaks 16, you can see some continuation higher. And for that, I would just look at a fib retracement. So yeah, if you can break 1620, look at 17 and 17.75 on PLTR. Good volume the past 2 days, not above average, but you could see a clear move higher in the activity there. And then Meta. So good volume yesterday. This kind of looks like a Wyckoff spring, right? The near-term structure breaks, shakes people out of their longs, and now it resolves higher. That's pretty typical. As far as, what we have here, this is, again, just a range. I would rather see this up through 310. I don't trade these mega cap names all that often because I'd rather just be trading NQ or QQQ. But yeah, this stays bullish. Look how strong this trend is, right? So this is pretty normal correction through time. It's just a range. Got all the MAs flattening out here. Could go ahead and leg higher. As far as the recent action, look at this. We can just tell visually that this is held much better than the index. So it does have some relative strength there. But yeah, on all these, you can really improve your probability of success in trading by looking at the names that are trading on higher than average volume. That shows you a real audience in the stock that you're interested in. On the index, we could get away with a little bit lower volume as far as daily averages are concerned, but for individual names, it's absolutely more important, at least for the 7 to 8 years of data that I have personally tracked just through my own results. So something to keep in mind there. Again, main watch for tomorrow, just going to be looking at ES primarily. It is end of month trading. Good time to be cautious. We don't want to attempt to make our week on some end of month trading, especially on a Friday, right? So that's the recap. Lovely day, lovely action today. That's pretty much it. If there's no other questions, I will see you guys in the morning. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great afternoon. Later.